And also just like sporks are just funny.
They are.
It's a fork and a spoon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that really required for a meal? I mean, a fork or a spoon can probably do the duty, but someone was just like, no, we got to combine this because it's the only way you can eat like your Kentucky Fried Chicken coleslaw.
Fannin? Cut to.
Exterior. Interior.
Restaurant?
Bar. Club.
Day.
Night.
Action! What's going on, everyone? And thank you for watching another episode of Restaurant Fiction, the show, the podcast, a media program that reviews fictional restaurants, bars, and clubs in TV and film. My name is Monis Rose. What is today's fictional bar, if you will? That's right. It's a fictional bar. It's in a fictional place called the Overlook Hotel from a movie called The Shining, directed by Stanley Kubrick. Obviously, unfortunately, may he rest in peace, Stanley Kubrick is no longer with us. But we brought the aficionado, the person who knows all things the Gold Room, the fictional bar from The Shining, all things the Overlook Hotel, all things Stanley Kubrick better than anyone, at least that we know. And her name is Stephany Folsom. Who is Stephany? Well, she had a major hand in writing Toy Story 4. That's right. She had a major hand in creating the Amazon show Paper Girls. And obviously, if you look her up, oh yeah, she wrote on the TV series, the Lord of the Rings TV series, also on Amazon. Anyway, yes, we talk about all of those amazing projects, all of those amazing works of art. But more than anything else, we talk The Shining. We talk The Gold Room. We talk Stanley Kubrick with Stephany because she knows better than we do. Here is the review of The Gold Room. Here is our little chit chat with Stephany. Thank you for watching. Stephany, guys, gals out there, Restaurant Fiction, we went to the Overlook Hotel. That's right. We went to this hotel almost, right around winter time. It was in the woods. It was in the mountains, if you will. And why did we go? Well, we went for the bar. We went for the bar. Call us whatever you want to call us. We first did a little tour. We bypassed the commercial kitchen, the pantry, if you will, which had an abundance of food, mind you. I mean, we could cook up a storm. Actually, this food, though, it's weird. So all of the rump roast and all of the proteins, it's almost like they've been dry aged without the actual dry age machine. We don't know how long everything has been sitting there. I'm sure there was plenty of fresh stuff or fresh enough, but we didn't want to really check the expiration date either. In a really twisted kind of way, it made us want some chocolate ice cream. It made us want to be a kid again. But why were we really here? We were really here for the bar. That's right, the Gold Room. You see, this lavish, gold-encrusted banquet hall that, you could really brainstorm was the cat's meow back in the day. And why the Gold Room is because your money is no good and the drinks are really stiff. But there was a moment, a little pause, if you will, where we didn't really, we did take a little bit of a sip, but not too much, because it's not really liquid courage. We didn't need that, but usually when we drink, there's a little bit of a buzz, a little bit of a feel good buzz, because we like quality stuff. We like premium stuff. We like stuff with a story. This stuff, though, in the Gold Room, served by the bartender, which I'm sure knows his libations very, very well and how to mix them. But this particular, it tasted a little bit stronger than just a buzz. We did not want to know the alcohol content, because the content in this drink, if you will, or the drinks, they took the mind into madness. And when we had that awful feeling of like, yeah, this brown liqueur, this brown liquid crossed that line, well, we just wanted to get the hell out. All right, that is our little quick review of the Gold Room, featured in the Overlook Hotel, featured in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. We are talking to none other than acclaimed screenwriter Stephany Folsom. Stephany, what'd you have to say? The floor is yours. Thank you for being here.
I do think like most of Kubrick's films are satires, and there's a comedic element in all of them, especially The Shining. I mean, look at Jack Nicholson's performance. It's almost comedic and over the top. I mean, he's saying, "Here's Johnny," and then he puts an axe through the door. Like that's absurdist. Like, so I think there's a little bit of absurdity to Kubrick that I just find absolutely intriguing and entrancing, and the way he's able to immediately like ground that absurdity in something very dark and serious, very much like, here's Johnny, and then, oh my God, like he's going to axe his wife and his child, like, and combining like those two opposing things, it works. And I'm just in awe of that, and I mean, it's just all of his movies have a little bit of those elements in them. I mean, even 2001, like the beginning of Hal's, interaction, it is a bit comedic and absurdist, until he tries to murder him, but like, so I think it's like just kind of like this way that, and I also think Hitchcock does this too, where there's kind of like running the whole gamut of emotion in just like a one sequence that's so artfully done that it just creates these indelible images that, I think like any filmmaker aspires to do. To be able to combine like, an absurd moment, a moment of comedy with the darkness, and just leaving you with like, oh my God, what am I feeling? What am I watching? Like that's the joy of cinema.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If you were going to update the Gold Room for today's audience, what creative changes will you make?
Oh gosh, I don't know if I would make any. I mean, if I want people to actually like stay and have drinks and make it a legitimate business, I mean, like, I don't know, I would, get rid of the death stare bartender that like tells you your money's no good here. Like, I'd be like, we need a new staff.
Yeah, money's no good here.
Maybe they should collect the money so it's a profitable business. That would be good. Yeah, I mean, but it'd be like, but hey, we make classic drinks here. It's wonderful.
All right, so they're going off. So what would be your Gold Room? So maybe a better question would be, Kubrick or not, I was like, Stephany, you have carte blanche to create your own fictional bar. And this could be in a TV show or a film. What would that look like?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that like fiction, like having a character like be in that place where they're like a sad alcoholic drinking alone is good. But like, if it was a fictional bar that I actually wanted to hang out in, like I would want a bunch of people around, because to me, like having a drink with friends is the best thing you can possibly do. So I think like my fictional bar would be like, I would be happily decorated like the Gold Room, but I would like want it more like Cheers, where it's a bunch of people in there having a good time. But yeah, if it was just, if I didn't actually have to live in it and it was just like straight up fiction, I mean, I wouldn't change the Gold Room at all.
And I mean, yes, and you would actually have real people like the Cheers, not the ghosts, like the...
Yeah. I would have real people that, didn't want to, make you live there forever and do whatever with your soul, Eternity's a long time to stay in a bar.
That is, I mean, there was even like a Twilight Zone episode, digression here, where you're right, like there was an episode where one man's heaven became his eventual hell. Yeah. And it was like, I think that's also at the Gold Room, like, oh my gosh, free drinks. Yeah, this is not really pleasure.
Too much of a good thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Too much. Yeah.
Too much.
No, I think I know the Twilight Zone episode you're talking about. Is the one with all the books.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, and the whole planet gets like nuclear disaster and he can read all the books he wants, but oh wait, I'm alone.
Exactly. Yeah. The Gold Room, and The Shining, it mixes genres in a way. It mixes supernatural, it mixes everyday, it mixes family. You can even tie it into like family.
It's a total family drama.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, in your writing, like, how do you mix genres in your own writing?
Well, I think, and this is going to sound so pretentious, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think that the mixing of genres happens because I think it's like seeking some type of like emotional truth that you're trying to convey in the story, because I think that there's always like logical plot and there's like, how logically a story is done. But I think there's an underneath layer about like where we're trying to like grasp at like not a factual truth, but emotional truth in what we're trying to say. And I think like how you get to that place is like emotions are messy and complicated and often happen all at the same time. So in order to, recreate like a character's emotional truth, I think you end up just having to blend genres because that's how emotions work. They're kind of messy and like you can be happy one moment and instantly sad the next, and then fine and then not fine. Like that's how we actually operate. And I think in trying to dramatically convey that, that's where genre blending sometimes comes in, because genre is like horror, scary, comedy, funny, drama, serious and thoughtful. But your emotional landscape covers all of those. So I think that's where it kind of all comes together.
By adding, with specifically The Shining, though, by adding the Gold Room, by adding the food elements, the drink elements, how did The Overlook Hotel, how did this movie become more real? How, by having, a bar in it, a fictional bar, or hey, Danny eating some ice cream and let me take you through, the kitchen,
Well, I think and I think, Stephen King, who wrote the book that the movie was based on, hated Kubrick's adaptation of it. And I think because Stephen King very much admitted that that book is about him dealing with his alcoholism and the effect that had on his family and all of that. And I think he didn't like the fact, and I'm just projecting here, but I don't think that, because the book, spoilers for the movie and for the book ends with the hotel burning down. It ends in fire. And Kubrick's ends with everything freezing down. And I think there's something about like the character being frozen and not being able to escape its alcoholism that I think freaked Stephen King out on a fundamental level. So I think like that, to me, like that's really what the story is about. It's about a family that's dealing with someone who has an addiction, and do you save them or can they not be saved? Are they going to drag you all down with them? Like that's really the subtext of all of it.
All right, moving on though, to I guess more Toy Story questions, more Paper Girls questions. All right, so let's just say this. So Pixar I would love this. Pixar asks you to write an upcoming either sequel or prequel or spin-off of any of their existing properties. Which one are you choosing and why?
Probably none. And this is why. Because I just think that something has to have, I mean, if there was a good reason to do it, I think I would do it. Like, kind of the story of Toy Story 4 is I was asked to meet at Pixar, and I wasn't told beforehand like what it was really for. So I was like, oh great, like going to big important Pixar meeting, and I don't even know what this project is for. So I go in and I'm meeting with the heads of Pixar, and they're like, it's for Toy Story 4. And I just blurted why. And I was like, oh crap, I'm so not getting this job. And I was like, and they're like, what? I was like, Toy Story 3 was really good and had a great ending. Why would you make another one? And that's actually why I got the job, because they did have a good answer. And their answer was that Woody didn't get an ending in the story yet. And I was like, okay, that could be a fun, cool story. Like, that's a good why. But I think that, I think movies are best when they're contained on their own and are beautiful things, and you have to have a really, really great reason why to do the next one other than money.
I like that. You know, I mean, now, and of all introducing all new characters in the Toy Story universe, I'm going to go on a limb. You helped create a sentient culinary, utensil, a forky. I mean, really, of all, like, what, in a way, what connects food so naturally to the Toy Story universe? Because, I mean, you could have picked any non-sentient, like any toy in the entire, in your creative space, and you chose this, a food utensil.
Yeah, I wish like the thought process had been food related. But actually, it came from this idea that craft time with kids, like, we give them garbage to play with. Like, literally, we're like, here's a paper plate, here's a plastic fork, here's a plastic spoon, and here's a toilet paper roll. Make art. And we do that. And so it kind of came from the idea. And also just, like, sporks are just funny. Like,
they are.
It's a fork and a spoon.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that really required for a meal? I mean, a fork or a spoon can probably do the duty, but someone was just like, no, we got to combine this because it's the only way you can eat like your Kentucky Fried Chicken coleslaw. So that's just funny. and so yeah, so it's just kind of the idea. And I mean, that's kind of what Forky is. Forky, at the end of the day, is made of garbage. And that's why he's constantly trying to throw himself away, because he's very aware of his true nature.
Once again, yeah, you're just like you said. I mean, with Kubrick's work, I mean, that even in itself, I mean, you're blending a lot of emotions and genres like into one. Like, you're giving us the whole shebang here.
Yes, warped minds.
Obviously, if Kubrick was still alive, and he was looking for a project, and he was looking for one of your projects, which one of your projects would you like him to direct of yours?
Oh gosh. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't want to just like give him something. Like, I'd want to like sit down and pick his brain and like do more of a collaborative process, because I also feel like that's how Kubrick worked. Like, he would always, usually for the most part, he would pick like an imperfect novel to adapt and then bring in a screenwriter to like work on it with him. And to me, like, I would just want to be part of that process and seeing how that brain works. And like I wouldn't want to just be like the typical, like, here's my script, go off and direct it. I would just want to be like, oh, let's build something crazy, Mr. Kubrick.
When you're just writing in general questions, when you're just writing whatever, this could be upcoming project, or it could be just for a fun project. How often are you thinking, even if you don't actually put it in the script, how often are you thinking, what do my characters eat and drink?
Well, I think that's always kind of like, I think you have to fully flesh them out as human beings. And so sometimes you'll have a character and like they're just not someone who thinks about or enjoys food much because they're not a fun character. And then other times it's like food is very central to who that character is, and like they're defined by their favorite meal and all of that. So that's a big part of that character. And I always like to think about what my character would order as their last meal, because I think that's very defining of like anybody as a human being. Like if it's your last meal on earth, what would you eat? I think that is pretty much defining of like who you are. So I think that's kind of a good way to think about characters too.
And what would be your last meal, Stephany?
Oh gosh. I think it would actually be oddly simple and comforting. Like I would want like a really good poached egg on a piece of buttered sourdough toast with a little salt and pepper. Because I think that was like my breakfast like growing up. So it was like my dad would make that for special occasions, you know? So it'd be like that, but also just there's something about like the texture of like a runny egg and you're dipping the toast in the runny egg. That's just so good and lovely.
Excellent. Yes. How did you find your voice, your writing voice?
I have no idea. Honestly, I think like I don't think I did it consciously. You know, I wish there was like a clear cut path or answer I could give to this, but I think some people do have a clear cut answer. But I think it's more complicated and uncomplicated. I think for me, it was just I had written a bunch of scripts because I thought they were what people would want. I was just like, oh, comedies are popular right now, I'll write a comedy. Oh, horror is popular, I'll write a horror movie. And it wasn't until I wrote my crazy Stanley Kubrick script where I just followed my joy and my interests that I actually got a career and got successful and wrote something that was actually like people enjoyed. And it's just because I was true to me. And so that's, you know, easy and hard. Like I think I was so just like, oh, this is how you make it in the business was my idea. And like how you make it in the business is, yes, your script has to be formatted properly and your characters have to have arcs and all that kind of thing. But it also like your voice is who you are and your experiences and what you bring to the story is what makes it unique and makes it stand out. So it's about bringing your humanity into the story, and not some preconceived notion of what would make a good story.
Stephany, thank you. You know, if the Gold Room actually did exist, we're right there with you. We would not actually go. Yes, from a restaurant fiction perspective, we actually did go, but from just me being me, Monis being Monis, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't sell myself and go completely mad. Anyway, no, thank you for everyone out there who wants to know more about Stephany Folsom and all the amazing work she has put out there in the universe. Watch Toy Story 4. Do yourselves a favor. Where the heck are you? I mean, yes, 1, 2, and 3 are arguably amazing. Well, guess what? Toy Story 4 just enhances that. It is the cherry on top. Watch her show, Paper Girls. Just IMDb her. She is always out there. She is in the trade. She is, you know, I mean, her work is fantastic. Anyway, where to find me? Well, you found me in the first place. It is right here. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. Even like and subscribe if you just hear the podcast on Spotify or on Apple. Like and subscribe there. Comment to me. Personally reach out. Monis at restaurantfiction.com. Love to hear from you. Love to see what your favorite episode is. What is missing from even the Gold Room? What is missing from The Shining? Please, because maybe Stephany will come back for round 2. Anyway, as always, keep it real, keep it fresh, and keep on the flip side.